No, it isn't.
Today on Fightzone TV, a young boxer who tops our bill at Aberdeen Beach Ballroom later this week. Sorry, I ran that there. What I meant to say, when I say later this week, it's only going out on Monday, okay?
No.
Right, okay. Hello, thanks for joining us today on... Hold on, I thought I'm used to another YouTube. Hello, thanks for joining us today on Fightzone. With me today, Dean Sutherland, who tops the bill at the Beach Ballroom, Aberdeen on Friday night. 12-0 is Dean, and one of the brightest welterweight hopes in Scottish boxing. First of all, thanks for joining us on Fightzone, Dean.
No worries at all, Steve. Thanks very much for having me.
First of all, first time I've been up to, I'm going to be going up to Aberdeen, and certainly the cameras around you. Tell us what to expect at the Beach Ballroom.
I think after the last one, everybody wasn't 100% too sure what it was going to be like, but it's a beautiful venue, the Beach Ballroom. Everybody loved it. Loads of suited and booted, good-looking young men and women. Atmosphere is absolutely electric, and like it says, a brawl at the ballroom. That's exactly it. You're going to have some really, really good, exciting fights, and the crowds and the cameras will love it.
Yeah, I mean, last time there you won your WBC International Silver Welterweight title against Michelle Esposito. Tell us about that fight, what it was like that night for you, winning.
Very, very tough. Probably the toughest man I've ever been in with. I could have continuously just kept hitting him all night long, and he still would have just kept coming forward. A really, really good learning experience for myself, that fight, being in with somebody that had never been stopped, somebody that was so tough, somebody that just kept coming forward, putting loads of pressure onto myself. It made me had to fight for every single second of the 3-minute rounds. So it was a great experience for myself. Learned a lot of different things from it, and looking to make some major improvements from the next one on the 11th of March.
Yeah, I mean, I watched. There was a really good promotional documentary on your website that you made, I presume at the start of your career, and you spoke about how Taekwondo was your first sport. So how did it evolve from Taekwondo to boxing?
Well, I started off at Taekwondo at the age of 4. Started competing when I was about 5 or 6, and straight away absolutely loved the tournament style, the competition. It got to the point, I think it was about just before I was 10, that the Taekwondo slowed down with the amount of competitions it was having, and it was kickboxing that I then went into, and I was literally traveling the UK every single weekend with my mum or dad, traveling all over the place. Didn't matter where it was. It would literally be at school on the Monday, then deciding where we're going to leave on the Friday and where we're coming back on the Sunday. It was full on. So I had major success in my kickboxing. I ended up winning 5 world titles at 5 different weights in my kickboxing before I was 18. But then it got to the point that the motivation for the hunger of what I wanted to achieve next was starting to go in the kickboxing. And I've always had the passion for boxing. A lot of my idols and stuff like that I look up to, motivation that I would look for would be in boxing. So when it came to the opportunity that I had the crossroads between, was I going to go into the MMA or into the boxing, it was a very easy decision for myself, and one that I seem to be reaping the rewards of.
When you said it was an easy decision, what was the main thing? Was it the financial rewards, the chance of fame, the chance to build a brand around yourself? Because you're very brand aware, I've noticed from stuff I've seen of you.
It was just more like following with my heart, basically. What was I'm much more passionate about. Like, the simplest way I looked at it is, if you had a major UFC event and a major boxing event, which one would I want to watch? And 100% it was the boxing every single time. The thing as well with the mixed martial arts, that I've got a fantastic stand-up that would probably be able to stand up with the best in Europe and even at the world level. But when it came to the wrestling, I'd be like a turtle on a shell. I wouldn't have much chance for that. So I needed a lot of that, like a good bit of time out of my career to really practice on that. And the momentum that I was building in the kickboxing, it would have been really hard for myself to be at such a high and then pull myself away to do loads and loads of training before I could get back to the highs.
Is there a history of physical sports in your family? Because, you know, you've tried so many of them and it's your mum and dad who got you into it. I just wondered if there's what the background is in your family in sport.
No, my dad did a little bit of boxing when he was younger, but from a competitive sports side of things, it was actually my granddad. He was a competitive professional cyclist. Held a couple of records and stuff like that in Scotland for a few years as well when he was younger. So like I've always had the sports side in my family, but right from a very, very young age when I got into the Taekwondo, my very first competition, I walked away with 2 golds, and it was almost like my absolute kryptonite. This was the stuff that I was looking forward to, and the adrenaline rush. I never had a feeling like it, and I've never ever had anything even close to having that winning feeling, and it became quite a regular thing in the kickboxing. It was every single tournament I went to, I came away with a medal. So being competitive and winning it just became absolute second nature for myself, and it's just the way I've always been. I'm competitive in everything that I do, and if I'm not giving myself 100% or challenging myself, then it's not really up for me.
I mean, you've got this WB, you're back to your boxing, you've got the WBC International Silver title. Do you see that as a springboard for the British title, or are you going another route? Because I've seen interviews where you were talking of being British champion by 2022, and we're there now.
Definitely, the British title is 100% on my radar. Any title really is on my radar. It doesn't really, I'm not going to distinct myself going one specific route. If a title comes up for the IBF or a WBO or the British title or Commonwealth, anything at all, that I'm ready to rock and roll for it. But I definitely think the WBC route that I'm going down just now, I can get a couple of different defences, get myself ranked up there higher. Plus, it'll also push me up the British rankings. And if the opportunity does come up that I get myself into the position for the British or the Commonwealth title or anything like that, then I'll be 100% ready for it. And something that when I got into professional boxing, looking at that Lonsdale belt, that was always the one that I really, really fancied. And any coach that you would speak to in Britain wants that belt. So it's definitely on my radar for taking that home.
So you'd fancy your chances against Cal Esserman, the British champion?
Yeah, I do very much so. To be fair, I give myself 100% credit, and I'd be ready to fight absolutely any of them that came up. It's just him that holds the belt, so he's the one that's got the target on his back. But really, I've got youth on my side, I've got confidence, I've got a great team behind me, that there's no point rushing and jumping into an opportunity that I'm maybe not 100% ready for. But right now, the confidence I've got, the momentum that I've got as well, I'm ready for anybody.
What about Conor Benn? I mean, that's the big money fight for all you boys, isn't it?
It definitely is, and it nearly came off a few years ago.
Did it?
It nearly came off a few years ago where his opponent had pulled out and he was looking for an opponent on 3 weeks' notice. I just had my first title fight, so I was down next to the weight, and it was close, but it just never really materialised. It ended up going with a different opponent. But Conor's made vast improvements since that.
Yeah.
And being 100% honest, he is probably the best in Britain that there is just now. So it's maybe just that one or two. It's maybe just that one step too far from it at the moment. I think just give myself a wee bit more experience, maybe get a full 10 rounds under my belt, get another couple of good domestic or international opponents, and then 100%. I'm only 23, so really, like by the time 25, I'll be taking on European level and above.
What's the boxing scene like in Aberdeen at the moment? The last boxer to have real success there was Lee McAllister, who fought for the British title, won a WBU belt. What's the scene like in Aberdeen, or do you have to travel everywhere for sparring? Because it's a long way for people to come for you. I mean, I'm in Manchester. You get to Glasgow, and you're only halfway there. So
exactly, yeah, it is hard. It's probably being up in Aberdeen, the hardest thing would be sparring, is the opportunity to get good quality sparring. Near enough every single sparring session, I've got to get 2 or 3 different guys from different areas. Some of them's got to travel 2 hours plus just to come for the sparring. So it is hard in the scene. Really, really good amateur scene that we've got up here as well. So it's good to have that sort of youthful, good experienced boys that's in the gym and that pushing as well. But from a professional point of view, when it comes to things like sparring, then you do have to do a lot of travelling. Been to Sheffield, Manchester, been over Ireland quite recently and stuff like that as well. That you do need to travel, and that's just part and parcel of being up here in the north of Scotland. You kind of get used to it, that if you're not the central belt, then really anything else above Glasgow or Edinburgh is the Highlands, the way it's kind of looks.
Who have you sparred with on your travels?
I've been to Sheffield to spar with Kell Brook.
What was that like?
A fantastic opportunity for myself. It was just before, I think it was his last fight, super welterweight, that he fought at the Sheffield Arena. That he was fighting a southpaw and I was fighting at orthodox on the exact same day. So it worked with both of us. Fantastic experience. And although people all say, "Oh, he's past his best," he's still very much got it. And I think he still proved that he's still got more left in the tank against the Amir Khan just a couple of weekends ago. But what an experience it was to be down there, and even actually had the opportunity. Unfortunately, it didn't come through, but he'd personally messaged me to see about going to Fuerteventura.
Oh, so he goes, yeah.
At his Crawford fight. So that, for me, that was a massive compliment. That anybody that he could have chose to fight, one of the pound for pound fighters in the world, he chose myself. Unfortunately, logistically with my work, it didn't work out, but great experience to be asked about that.
And finally, before we let you go, we'll have another good chat when I'm up there next week with you. But what can Fightzone viewers expect from you on Friday night? Excitement,
explosive performance, a great atmosphere, and 100% entertainment. But I'm not looking to go in there and get a nice easy points decision. I'm looking to go in there, entertain, and have an easy night.
So when I'm there next week, if you say everyone's suited and booted, have I got to find my poshest suit to interview you afterwards?
I think Glenn McCrone actually hit it right nail on the head last time. It looks like a Wall Street Christmas party.
Right, I'm coming in a suit next week. I'm usually I'm in my running gear. I'm just going running in the rain in a moment. But I'll tell you what, next week I'll be suited and booted just for you, because you know what, you're going to put on a performance as well. I can feel it.
That's exactly it. Exactly it. You'll need to bring your 3-piece suit, and you'll fit right in with the rest of us.
Well, I tell you what, thanks for sparing us some time this morning, and I look forward to seeing you later on, and we'll have a proper chat then again. Thank you very much indeed for your time, Dean.
Go on, Steve. Have a good one, mate. Have a safe travel up.
Thank you.
Using stuff like it doesn't need to be anything